Skip it up and that up. So yes, I'm showing you more footage of Fear, and you're probably thinking, and it's understandable, Rich, holy shit, we get it. You like Fear, you're beating this game to death. Stop showing us footage. And if you're thinking that, I totally understand. But before you get annoyed, I have something interesting to say to you. This isn't an ordinary copy of Fear. Now, you're probably looking at like the command buttons and where it says squared open doors and saying, oh, Rich, it looks like it's the PlayStation 3 version. And you'd be right. But this isn't the ordinary PlayStation 3 version. I'm actually playing this on the PlayStation 4 via PlayStation Now or PS Now. And I have to say, color me fucking impressed, man. Now, I've tried other streaming services like GeForce Now, and they were okay. I have the NVIDIA Shield TV, and I have a $300 Netgear, I think it's called Nighthawk wireless AC router, and the NVIDIA Shield is maybe 10 feet away from it, and I would have streaming issues with it. So they have bugs to work out with the GeForce Now. It's still, at least the last time I played it, I should say, it still had its issues. This has like none. PlayStation Now, like honestly 99% of the time, I forgot I was playing a game that was streaming. I mean, the controls, there's virtually no latency at all. It blows me away. Like, when you guys, if you've played games that stream before, okay, especially early on, like they always had like a weight to them. Like you just felt like the controls were sticky because of the latency. Here there was like no, at least noticeable, no latency. I mean, in Fear too, especially, or Fear, I mean, you really would feel it because, you know, you have to click L1 for the slow-mo, and if it doesn't hit in time, it could screw you over. And when you don't have slow motion enabled, the guys move lightning fast, so you would really feel it. Like the controls, it felt like I was playing the game on a native console. Like I did not feel like I was streaming this from the cloud. And that was mind-blowing. I did not know that PS Now, the controls were that responsive. Now, visually, it looks pretty good. You're looking at footage right now. This is coming from PS Now, and it looks pretty good. The only thing I'll say is that Sony uses, I know they got this from Gaikai, the compression is strange. I think I like it better than other like game streaming compression that I've seen. But like when objects are in the distance, it almost looks like a watercolor painting. It's very unique compression. I haven't seen anything like, usually when something is in the distance, when it's heavily compressed, you see a bunch of squares and artifacts. Here, it almost looks like a painting if you look at something in the distance. Like their compression technique is interesting. I don't think this is actually, well, the original Fear, because this is actually the original Fear from PlayStation 3. I don't think that was actually even like native 720p, if I remember correctly. So it's not going to look great to begin with, but I don't think this is like playing at 1080p. I mean, it looks good. Again, most of the time, I got into the game and I kept on forgetting I was playing a game streamed to my PlayStation 4. But the graphics and the visuals, they're more than competent. And on top of it too, there was no frame. There was one frame that dropped. Honest to God, there was like a millisecond hiccup. And I played this probably, I mean, there's only 20 minutes of footage here, but I played it before I recorded it. I think for like close to an hour. Don't quote me on that if it's like 40 minutes, but still, when I tried GeForce Now, as soon as I loaded up a damn game, it would start stuttering and hiccuping. So this is leagues better. PS Now is leagues better than GeForce Now, at least from what I played when I loaded up Fear. And on top of that, I'm only using the crappy Wi-Fi that's built into the PS4. If you have a PlayStation 4, you know that the wireless end chipset inside this console is junk, and that's what I'm using to stream this game right now. I'm not even like you have gigabit Ethernet plugged in. I just have the Wi-Fi that's built into the PlayStation 4, which is questionable at best, and it's running fine. Look at this. This is incredible, man. I'm very impressed with the streaming performance that PlayStation Now offers. Honestly, I expected it to suck. I mean, I know it looked cool when Sony first announced it. If you saw me talking about my my other video I made on PlayStation Now where I said PlayStation Now depresses me, and I still stand by that video. But, they actually, it holds up. It holds up very well. I'm very impressed with how well games stream from PlayStation Now. They stream from Sony's cloud. It's really, honestly, mind-boggling. I expected this to be complete garbage, and it isn't. So yeah, I finally tried PlayStation Now. I expected it to be terrible, but it blows me away. I'm very, very pleased with the performance of PlayStation Now. But it still depresses me because this shows me what the future is going to be, and the fact that physical copies of games will eventually one day go away. When that will be, I don't know. It depresses me. It's funny because a perfect example as to why I hate, that games are going to be completely digital or even streamed solely from the cloud. There was a game, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's a great beat 'em up that was for the PS3 and Xbox 360. And because I got an Xbox 360 again and I've been collecting for it, I wanted to play that game. Oh, what a great beat 'em up. I would have loved to play that with my little brother and, my fiance's kids too. And couldn't find it. It was gone. They don't have it on the PlayStation Store. It's not on Xbox Live. You can't download it anymore, because that's the downside of digital distribution. That's the downside of streaming. The same issues I talked about in my PlayStation Now Depresses Me video still stand. Okay, we're not going to own games anymore. Games are just going to be streamed from a server, from a cloud. And if a developer or publisher wants to get rid of them, if a company goes out of business, we don't know what will happen to those games. And say they make you still spend $60 to just have the license to play a game that's just going to be streamed from the cloud. What's going to happen when that company, if or when it goes out of business? Are we still going to have access to our games? You can't tell me, you'll be like, oh yeah, Rich, they'll find a way to keep them going. That's not true. Where's Scott Pilgrim versus the World? It's gone. You can't get it anywhere. Now, if I had a physical copy of that game, I would still be able to play it. But since it was just digital distribution, it's gone, and more than likely gone for good. And that is why, even though this service is running great, PlayStation Now impresses the hell out of me, it also depresses the hell out of me, because I see a very bleak future for the gaming industry if everything goes streaming and everything goes digital. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.